Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Normies Like Us.
Ayo.
Ayo, bad boys.
Ayo, bad boys.
Happy to be here, bad boys.
All right, well, here we are. That's it. We're rolling.
We're rolling. First episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a historic moment, you know.
Happy to be here. This is Colin.
Joe,
And this is Mike. That's right.
those are our names.
Those are our
That's
names.
an important part of it.
3 different white guys.
Yep, you know, the world needs more podcasts with 3 white guys talking to each
We're
other.
here to fill it in.
Well, there's just not enough out there.
No, really.
You know?
The niche is, just dying to be exploited, so we're going to jump in there.
We're going to fill that void.
That's
Happy to
right.
fill that void, folks.
And if you're listening to this, where did you find us? And thank you. And if you're listening to this from the future into the past, a la, time traveling cable shit, thanks. Anyway, welcome.
Happy to have you folks checking in.
So yeah, we talk about movies, comics, and video games primarily. That's the big stuff in the cultural zeitgeist right now. And
Yeah, that's what it means to be normie now. It didn't used to. It used to be nerdy.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the transition from, the stuff you grew up loving that you had a small group of friends you would talk to now everyone knows about it and they're everyone's favorite things. From Star Wars to comic books, video games, everything in between.
God, even something like Jaws. Look at something like Ready Player One with Steven Spielberg. We got a pop culture explosion.
Yeah.
That's the culture right now, baby.
That's right. It's hip to be square, like Joe said. Nerd stuff is cool shit. Alphas are the new betas, dude.
Ooh, I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, anyway, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to walk into somewhere, and it's easier to talk about a Marvel movie or a Star Wars or video games than it is to talk about sports.
Yeah.
Like it almost feels like there's been a complete flip
God, look
within our
think about
generation.
that. Would you guys call that a Revenge of the Nerds?
It basically is if you think about it. I mean, like with the rise of stuff like fantasy football, it's like, yeah, sports have become more like number based than like nerd stuff to
Even
begin
that
with.
is boiling down.
Yeah.
A lot of people have opinions on something. They think, did I come too late to this? How am I going to jump in on movies, comic books, video games? It seems like that was something a lot of other people got to me beforehand. Where do I fit in on this? Feel free to jump right in, baby. Look, thing is, if you like something, you like it when you like it, okay?
True.
Feel free to like it now.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
get intimidated by like the history of stuff, which is like there's no reason to.
Yeah, you see a lot of this backlash too now for people who are like jumping on a bandwagon, people wearing Rolling Stone shirts and stuff. Like there's this culture of like bashing people who maybe aren't as hardcore about something as you are.
It's gatekeeping, man.
Yeah,
it's
it's
all about
gatekeeping.
if you're not a real fan, you're not a real fan if you didn't read the book.
Well, that's
Who
like
decides that?
Yeah, that's 4chan. Normies, get out. Like that's where it's coming from. But we're
Yeah.
trying to take that word.
we're taking it back.
And make
We're
it
taking
inclusive.
it back. We're taking normies back.
Like one thing I really want to do with this is like internet culture and like culture in general now has just become like so much gatekeeping.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah.
And like I really want this podcast to be anti-gatekeeping.
Yeah.
So
Where it's like, oh,
you don't know something,
didn't read
whatever.
comic books growing up, but you like the movies. That's fine. You're not a faker. You're not a
No,
fraud.
you're the coolest.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like,
Like
okay,
this now?
let's dive in more and tell you more about the things that you like. And it's fine that you like them because you saw the movie.
And you might learn something that you
Yeah.
didn't know about a
Yeah,
property
exactly.
or a franchise or a studio.
But like just because you like Captain America because you thought like Chris Evans is hot or like like that's fine.
just as
I'm
Yeah.
valid
glad you're
reading it
reading
at
them.
10 years old.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it doesn't
Who
matter.
cares?
You got the hook somehow.
With Normies Like Us, we're going to take you through 3 segments. We're going to talk about comic books. We're going to talk about video games. We're going to talk about movies.
The holy trinity of pop culture.
Yeah.
right.
Especially in this current climate. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're into it, get into it. If you're just dipping your toe in, hopefully this is an avenue for you to get.
Hopefully we can pull you in because
Exactly.
we're happy to have you.
We're
Exactly.
happy to have you.
Well, and should we just jump right into it?
Yeah, let's dive right in.
All right, movies. Here we go.
I don't understand this.
I do.
It was right here. There was a movie theater right here. Just last week. The marquee was right there, the blinking lights everywhere.
Don't miss the movie. Call Movie Phone, the one call to make for theaters and showtimes in no time.
All right, movies, moving picture time, films, talking movies.
That's right. So, I mean, everybody watches movies. But, like, what's our background, right? I mean, how much do you watch? How much do you like movies? Because, I mean, I came to L.A. because of movies.
That's
you know?
right.
That's why we're here.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have met if it was not for movies in some way, if you look at the butterfly effect of all things.
We got a little
just a bunch of
background.
film kids.
We worked on shorts, features, commercials.
So we all went to film school, right? And we all did some freelance work. We've all made our own short films with various, subjects and stuff. So
Everyone's in the City Angels just trying to make it.
So with that being said, we might be a little more critical of something because of, we've been to the sausage factory. We know kind of how movies are made. We're a little more critical perhaps of like the writing or the production or the deals going on. But that being said, we still love them, right? We still love movies. That's why we go see them.
That's right. We still got to ask, where are you on the spectrum?
That's right.
What do you like? What's your genre?
All right. Should I kick it off? My genre used to be, it's a lot of stuff. I like a lot of Akira Kurosawa, old movies, samurai movies. I'm into, a lot of import film, specifically like Asia's good. Korea has good horror movies, things like Old Boy, that whole trilogy, the Revenge trilogy is super dope. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Some of the best contemporary filmmaking, period. And then, grew up watching Star Wars. I wouldn't have moved to LA like if I didn't watch the Lord of the Rings special features. Like that was free film school, 21 hours, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, without that, I'm not sitting in this chair in LA, and then after, your tastes kind of evolve and you watch the classics and stuff like that. But kind of all over, but definitely.
Sounded like our foreign film buff over here. A little classy.
Yeah, way more.
I am French, which you guys don't get that, but it's fine. But yeah,
You will.
You will one day. So
in
that's
time.
kind of it. But obviously, I'm keeping up on all the pop culture stuff. The new, all the big drops. So.
Oh, I was just going to ask, every Oscar season, you feeling good about your Oscar pick?
Oh, I don't play
Line
the
up
Oscar
winners. I don't
fantasy.
play the Oscar
hit that
game
game.
as much.
Do you hit that?
We play it, but no one at this table is better than Colin at that game.
I'll segue into that. That's what I like. I like the popular films. I like the ones that hit the Oscar picks. Hey, this is Colin here, guys. I like the big mainstream movies that people like to see that also are award bait. If you've got a Stuttering King, I'm probably into it. If you've got a World War II period piece, baby, light me up. I love Dunkirk this year on HBO right now. Check it out, boys.
Nice.
I'm a genre buff. I love horror. Not necessarily into things like foreign or Japanese or anything like that, but I sure love Westerns, things like that. I can get a little old school too, boys.
He just hates reading.
Just hate reading.
I do hate
If
reading.
it's subtitled, I'm going to be
Says
honest,
that-
I'm not going there.
Yeah, even if I do go there, it's got to be dubbed, right?
It's got to
I
be
can't-
dubbed.
Wow.
Dubs over subs.
Which
boys.
is terrible. Like, that is the most normie take.
There's some good dubs, but yeah, that's the most.
I'm hot on it.
The two comics guys hate reading subtitles.
Don't call us out like that, Mike.
Anyway, Joe, where do you land on the spectrum?
The tagline for Raiders of the Lost Ark is "The Return of the Great Adventure,"
Okay.
and I think that speaks mostly to my interests.
That is you. I love it.
Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, the idea of like the grandiose American film. So it's like anti-Mike in terms of
okay.
this. Like Westerns.
We're talking blockbusters.
Yeah, blockbusters, horror films, the American New Wave. Like guys like Martin Scorsese, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Brian De Palma, like all of those guys really get me there. Genre stuff, gotta love horror, always and forever. Nothing's better than getting scared.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bottom line is the blockbuster, the return of the great adventure.
Is it true? Is your middle name Marty McFly?
It might be.
It's a couple names in the middle, but yeah. Are we now then, speaking of blockbusters, is this the era of like the peak of blockbusters? They've never been bigger. They've never been more international, right? Exactly.
I mean, they are the new musical. Like everybody goes to see the blockbuster.
Yeah.
Whether it be, Ready Player One, which is like a mashup track of every blockbuster, basically, or Star Wars back in full cycle here with Solo.
We're getting one every year now too.
Yeah.
We mentioned it earlier, Ready Player One. Anybody here catch it?
I saw Ready Player One. Yeah.
Ooh.
Did you guys
Joe,
see it?
I know
I have
you
seen it,
read
yeah. I read the
can
book
ask,
back
did
in the
both
day.
of you guys read it?
I never read the book.
I read the book a couple years back.
Joe saw it, read the book. Mike saw it, did not read the book. Me, I did not see it, did not read the book. So hit me, guys. Did you like it?
I thought it was better without reading the book, having no like kind of expectation. I thought it was better than it had a right to be based on complaining I heard about people who read the book. But I didn't
See,
have
that's
that.
another one where fans can interfere with the like.
No.
Yeah, so I just kind of went in blind, and it was cool to see stuff like a Gundam fighting Godzilla. Like, I'm never going to see a Gundam movie.
You might
maybe.
never see a Gundam movie.
But I can see it in Ready Player One, or you see the Master Chief guys. A lot of people like bitch, like, oh, it's just pandering, right? But it was cool to see this stuff, at least like on screen. I saw the Akira bike in a film. Like, that was awesome. I might not see the Akira movie, and that's DiCaprio can pull that off.
That's right.
Or like people complain about fan service when like isn't that what a movie is just if you're making a movie that's based off of something, isn't that immediately fan service?
Isn't that what you want?
Yeah, like wouldn't it not exist if you weren't servicing the fans?
I am a fan. Service me.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Exactly,
That's
right.
why I'm here.
I pay my money.
Yeah, because I want to see things like, you know, the Joker standing side by side with King Kong. Ooh. I don't know why, but I do.
Sound good. You guys have convinced me. Joe, did you like it?
It's fine. You know, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. And like, you know, people complain about the book, but the book's the same thing where it's like if you like reading sentences that just have things you like repeated over and over again, you're going to like it.
Oh boy.
If you don't, then you don't. I'm not saying it's a masterpiece, but as a fan of 80s pop culture, you know, it's worth it.
Yeah. For me, my note on the movie, last one, I don't want to stay on Ready Player One too long, but the most interesting thing for me was I wanted more about the weird creator of the game. That I cared more about that guy and his
Willy
story.
Wonka.
Yeah, than the actual story. Like, I just liked the visuals, but I cared more about that guy. I wanted more of the creator of Oasis than I wanted.
Interesting.
They make it more like we're a revolution.
Sure,
and stuff
sounds
like
like
that.
Mike liked the story.
I liked specifically the story notes of the creator. The main characters in the movie, it's
A little flimsy.
it's you know, it's flashy though, it's shiny. You know, we like shiny things. So
Shiny things.
overall, it's fine. But yeah, now we got Solo coming out. And that's like
let me tell you guys.
the second spin-off, right? So how do you feel about this, Colin?
Second spin-off, as a Star Wars fan, didn't mention this in the movies picks, but boy, I think we can all say here, yeah, guys, big Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
I know I am. We all are.
I mean, like, even going back before getting a Star Wars film every year, I mean, I think we're all Star Wars fans even before the prequels came out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We had our VHS tapes. Let me ask you this. Did you guys all go to the re-release in theaters?
I did.
I
Did.
I saw the New Hope re-release. That was the only one I saw.
Still made it.
But
I'm telling
made
you,
it.
that's our generation.
Yeah,
right there with Star Wars.
It's
Yeah.
a rare, lucky take where we got to see every Star Wars movie that's come out. I've seen it in theaters.
That's pretty
Which
cool.
is
Love that.
wild.
Yeah, as a huge Star Wars fan, you can, now we're living in the paradise of getting a new one coming up. Now, you asked me how I feel, Joe. How do I feel about one of these background? This is the first one where we're going with a background of an already established character.
That's
Because
right.
Rogue
We
One,
had Rogue
you know,
One.
it's in the back, but it's not following
We don't know
Han
those
Solo. Yeah,
people.
they're all
Come on.
strangers.
Just a prologue. And
It's
they
a
all die anyway.
prologue.
Spoilers, right?
Nope, spoilers.
They don't matter.
So, you know, I'm excited. I'm a huge Chewbacca fan. He is my favorite character in the Star Wars universe. And to see where he came from, yeah, I'm down. And people say, who is this movie for? You know, this isn't for the people who like Star Wars. It should be moving forward. I'll take a step back if it means I get to see my favorite characters come back. And I think that's exactly what this movie's going to do for me.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is any Star Wars movie that you're going to bother making, I'm going to bother to go see. The idea that you're going to take one of the most iconic characters and go back, I'm not mad it's not Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford's an old man.
Yep. How could he?
An old man can't play a 20-something.
And he never loved it anyway.
Yeah, and that's the other, like,
No.
people really, you got to separate it, man.
He was a professional about it, but he was never super down.
And I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan, you know?
I love
Yeah.
the man.
I do. He is my definition of a man's man.
Of an action hero. Of
yeah.
a movie star.
Yeah, we
An
just
adventurer.
don't make them like him anymore.
Damn right.
But the bottom line is Han Solo is not Harrison Ford.
Right.
You got to separate the two. You got to just let this new guy have his turn in the sun.
Maybe this Alden Ehrenreich. Maybe they make him like him now.
Yeah. I'm down. I mean, like a smuggler, just a guy on the run. I'm sold.
Classic gangster story. I think it looks exciting. We are at the point, we're close to the release date now. We've seen a little buzz, and I got to say, it's coming out pretty positive so far. I
Yeah.
was pretty shocked about that.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
Well, I was because I think people were ready to hate this movie. Like they were ready to be against it from the get-go, just because it was going back to something that's holy. But it's not. You know, like nothing is holy in the movie universe.
Right.
It's all open to interpretation.
Mike, you start as a hater?
I still want to hate it.
Ooh, I saw that over there.
I know,
thought
yeah.
so.
You know, I'm worried about getting a Star Wars movie every year. You know, like it doesn't feel special.
You worried about Disney?
It's true. It's
Yeah,
not special anymore.
I'm worried about Disney. They got the Infinity Gauntlet, you know?
They're rewriting history, changing reality.
They got Marvel. They got Star Wars. You know, they're just collecting. Fox, right?
Yeah, another gem in the gauntlet.
So, yeah, they kind of got it all. But I love Star Wars. I don't want to see bad Star Wars films, obviously. I hope that it's good, but maybe it's just I hold it in such high of an esteem, you know, and I'm worried about them watering it down.
Can I just say one of the things that I worry about? I don't know if that's what you were about to ask, what our big fears are, but
yeah.
One of the big things that I worry about with this new thing coming up, I don't know the last time I enjoyed a Ron Howard movie. I'll be honest with you. I see him more as the narrator on Arrested Development than I do a big movie director, and now he's got the keys to the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, what's that, Rush with Chris Hemsworth? Is that one?
Absolutely.
It's fine.
It's fine.
I think the problem is every Ron Howard movie I've seen recently, I just end up thinking, it's fine. It's never special.
Formula
it's
One,
never good.
Whales at Sea. Yeah.
Oh, I never saw that one.
That's
That's
Star Wars to you. That's Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, he loves Thor.
Right
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know enough Ron Howard. He doesn't make enough foreign films for me. So. I mean, I know Ron Howard, you know, from
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Andy Griffith. You know.
Now I'm seeing two big Grinch fans here. Now I know personally that we're big Splash fans. Joe, you're a big Splash fan. I'm a big Splash fan, so maybe you can capture some of that romance. With
That's
a little
true.
Love interest.
They don't make romantic
Emilia
movies
Clarke.
like that in any movie.
No, they don't. They just make the same script, you know.
Yeah, well, like Splash is so great because it's a movie like Liar Liar or Big, where the premise is just like you have to buy in right away. This guy can't tell a lie. This guy falls in love with a mermaid. This guy is automatically older. Like that joke premise doesn't really exist anymore outside of like an SNL bit.
Yeah, that's true. To, like, do a whole 90 minutes following this hook, and they have good hooks. I mean, like they know they're going to be silly, but they're charming
those are
too.
American classics, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. Yeah.
Splash, Big. I would take those movies all day.
Yeah. So.
And you're hoping some of that lightning's caught in outer space with Solo, a Star Wars story.
That's right. And, you know, I hope it does well, specifically because I want the Obi-Wan movie with...
So everyone is clamoring
People
for
say
it.
that, and I love that. I'm super excited for that. But my big fear is if this does well, it's just going to mean more Solo movies.
Oh, I think we'll get 3 of these.
A trequel. Yeah. You know, what are we doing there? Sure, I want that Obi-Wan too, but I don't know if I want this moving forward.
Solo cubed.
I want everything moving forward. Bottom line is, if you're going to make a movie a year, like Last Jedi came out 6 months ago?
Yeah. December.
Sure, man. Keep me loaded up. I am a junkie. Just keep fucking shooting me up, man. I'll take it as often as you're willing to give it to me.
Not to make a Star Wars pun, but I don't want us to be force fed, you know.
You want to buy some death sticks?
Yeah. I want to go home and rethink my life, you know.
Well, wait, here's a Star Wars question we didn't touch on at all.
Yeah.
Which of the Star Wars films is your favorite?
That's true.
Where are you at? Are you a prequel? Are you an original?
I think we should do a
Are you
3, 2, 1 answer to see if we do this, all right?
Okay. Ooh, Mike, I'm liking that.
Because I think there's maybe a 25% chance we might say the same shit, but probably not. So
hold on. We're saying name of film?
Name of the film, your favorite one.
Name of the film,
your favorite Star
one.
Wars.
Okay, I am nervous here. Okay, count us down, Mike.
So 3, 2, 1, hit, all right? 3, 2, 1.
Return
Empire
of the
Strikes
Jedi.
Back.
Oh, my God.
Okay,
Okay, look, I hate to be the
Jedi.
contrarian here. I love Return of the Jedi.
So just so they can hear
I
us
love
clearly.
Return of the Jedi, too.
Mike, I'm saying Empire.
Joe, I'm saying Empire.
Colin, I'm saying Return of the Jedi.
That is such a hot take.
Well, first
it.
off, I love that we're all original trilogy.
Yeah. That's requisite, almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
At this point.
If you grew up around
Who knows, though? That might change in the next couple of years.
Okay, Andy. I don't know about that.
enough.
That might change.
Okay, Andy.
True. All right. So sell me on Jedi, man.
Well, I love the Ewoks. No, look, what it boils down to...
I do love the Ewoks. You could have stuck with that.
The Ewoks. It's the culmination of a great story. You've got a great Luke in that black outfit, which, first, I hate to get bogged down on that, but look, I love that outfit.
That is the most iconic look.
It is
for
the
Luke.
most iconic look for me for Luke Skywalker Jedi.
Well, and he's a Jedi who wears black.
Oh, my God.
A Jedi who wears black. That's so...
I didn't
edgy.
think about it as a kid, but it was cool. Like that was the action figure I had. Was the black?
Exactly, and it introduces the green lightsaber.
Yeah,
if you went and saw Return of the Jedi in the re-release, they gave out a special edition of the Luke wearing the black outfit action figure.
Oh, wow.
It is the only action figure I never opened. I still have that unopened in my parents' basement somewhere.
Which is also the foreground of the re-release poster. Big Luke.
That's true, yeah. Big Luke on
That's
the scarif on the back.
Nice.
That's right.
I mean, it's great, and I think Return of the Jedi, it works also with the prequels. It still feels like that 6-movie arc, like the end of the Skywalker father and son saga, right? It's great.
Well, let me give you a hot take on that actually. And just to finish up, I like everything about Jedi.
Yeah.
I like Vader's interactions. I like getting the final confrontation with the Emperor.
Yeah.
I like the Ewoks. I like the final battle. Everybody is gearing up in such an interesting way. It is combat to a T. Everybody is gearing up for the end game. Obviously not anymore. But just my hot take on this recently, people get so worked up about this moment in The Last Jedi. And I'm going to assume you guys know the moment I'm talking about. It's when Luke ignites the lightsaber with Ben Solo. It's when things change.
Yeah.
And he gives in to that moment of weakness. Can't you look back as a fan, this is my opinion here, and say that his father does the exact same thing in Return of the Jedi? He gives into a moment of goodness and saves his son from the Emperor when he's getting electrocuted and throws him off. Isn't it the exact same thing? It's just a cycle with these Skywalkers. If you can't buy into that with the original trilogy, why do you have such a problem with it in this new one?
Well, there's so much to talk about to unload there. One, you brought up The Last Jedi.
I know, I'm sorry.
But before we get to that, I'm going to tie it back to Solo and sort of The Last Jedi. People talk about Luke in The Last Jedi and get so upset over the choices he makes and the way he is as a character.
That's not my Luke.
Look, for me, Luke was boring. He's just some fucking farm boy. I don't care about him.
The chosen one.
For me, it's Han Solo. He is the smuggler who makes the right choice. I didn't think Luke Skywalker was interesting as a character until The Last Jedi.
He just had a laser sword.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow, hot take, Joe. I like that.
And he's the one who called it a laser sword.
That's true.
In
He
both
did
of
say
them.
laser sword
Yeah.
now. Han Solo always had a lot of the charm, the roguish, handsome dude, I'm
going to say that's why you guys like Empire more. You guys love Han Solo. That's a pretty big Han Solo.
I do love Han Solo,
Yeah,
but also I think
back.
that the lightsaber fight at the end of Empire is some of the best work.
Ooh,
Really?
Yeah. Right before the I Am Your Father reveal, I go back on YouTube. I'm sure you can find a supercut of all of the fights.
Right.
That one, it stands out to me, man. The lighting is great. That's Lawrence Kasdan doing his job, man. It's really great work.
Now look at him writing with his son John Kasdan, wrapping things up with Solo. You gotta
Really?
love that.
I didn't
Is
know that.
Absolutely, that's right.
Wow. Oh, see, that's another reason I want to see this movie then.
That's right.
No, that's actually sells me. I mean, I'm going to see it, obviously. It's a Star Wars movie. But.
That, I think, is the most important sentence.
Ooh.
I'm going to see it, obviously. It's a Star Wars movie.
And Normies, that's exactly what we're talking about. Isn't that how we all feel? I mean, are we caught by this thing? Is it a black hole? Should we feel like we should escape it? I don't know. I loved this stuff, and I can't stop.
Yeah, I still love it. I want more of it. Even if I complain about it, I still want to talk about it.
Because even when they weren't making movies, I mean, I was interested in the comic books and the video games and the
Jedi
figures.
Academy and everything.
It was everything.
Jedi.
Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic, one of the best RPGs, period, in the Star Wars universe. And it's just one of the best RPGs, period. It's great. It's great stuff. Yeah. Star Wars, everybody. Solo. See it. We'll see
Solo.
it.
Or don't.
Coming out of
And
theaters.
speaking of Solo, right, a lot of these topics we talk about, we're going to be doing full episodes on this. So down the pipe, Solo's coming out. Keep your ears to the ground for a full-on Star Wars breakdown. We're going to go.
Yeah, you're going to get our reactions to it. You're going to see what we thought about that film for sure.
Yeah. We'll talk about not only just the movies of Star Wars, but the comics and the video games, because Star Wars is one of those things that transcends to all three.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's Solo. I mean, should we just talk about the big elephant in the room with a metal hand? I mean, that's the big one. Infinity War, right? Marvel.
That's right.
The two juggernauts of film right now is Star Wars and Marvel. That's
Which are
it.
owned by the same company.
That's right, Disney.
Ooh.
Which is crazy, but you can't be mad at them because they've been putting out incredible releases, especially now the quality is getting so much better. Like everyone considers Winter Soldier to be top tier, Black Panther's super top tier, and now Infinity War is like this generation's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, but
It
with
really
each of
is.
them making billions of dollars, I can be a little mad at them, Mike. My wallet can be a little mad at them.
Yeah. Well, now that we're seeing one every, 5 or 6 months, we're getting
Marvel's
a new
talking
Marvel
about
movie.
releasing
Yeah.
4 now a year.
If they get 4, that's doubling down. We get one a
Dominating
season,
this
baby.
game.
Wow. Well, they got the X-Men now, and they got to have something for them to do.
Yeah, we'll get there at
Fingers
some
crossed.
point.
Fingers crossed. Not too soon. Not too soon.
Yeah.
Nah, it'll take a minute to get all the legality of it figured out, I'm sure. But I mean, thinking about it, just in terms of movies, these guys are making so much money. The Black Panther, as a character, has not appeared in a movie that didn't make $1 billion.
Oh my God.
$1 billion with a B.
Wow.
I mean, that is absurd for one character. Yeah, that's Civil War, the Black Panther solo film, and Infinity War,
That's for
which
a
have all
character
made
that had
billions of
billion.
dollars.
That's for a character that had a BET animated television show in the 90s. Think about that, folks.
Which lasted, what, like 7 episodes, if that?
Ouch.
Well, to be fair, he's probably like padding the numbers with his vibranium, like selling some off to make him look good, Jay-Z style, installs it on your iPhone that you buy and it counts as a sale.
Yeah. Oh, it's there.
But no, it's crazy. Yeah, he's been in 3 movies, all made $1 billion. And it's a character
incredible.
that I knew nothing about, because I'm just cursorily, on the fringe of that world, but I love the movies and I see them and I thought Infinity War was fantastic. How about you guys? What do you think about Infinity War?
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, it's such a thing to talk about because it's like, I loved it, but at the same time, like, sitting here now, I don't think I'll ever watch Infinity War alone again.
Well,
I mean,
the way
it
that
ends
we
on
did,
such
yeah,
a
absolutely.
cliffhanger.
It was such a cultural thing to watch it again now. Now you just experienced it that opening night, sitting there with hundreds of fans,
Yeah.
all feeling the same thing. Wow, 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 wow.
And it was just jaw dropped. I mean, I remember like Colin and I saw it together. There were 3 or 4 moments where it was just the,
Yeah.
like that. Oh my God, it's the Red Skull.
Yeah. This is going to be, full spoilers on this. You should have seen it.
Yeah,
Oh, that's true.
If we talk about
And if you
something-
haven't, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, come on.
Please get out there. It's the #1 movie in the world. Fastest to $1 billion ever. Breaking records every day.
Yeah. And if you clicked on this podcast, like, let's be real. If you clicked on this but you haven't seen that, like, come on, man. What are you doing?
But
This is for
thank you.
somebody.
This is for
Dan,
somebody.
thank you, too.
This is for somebody consuming all pop culture at once. That's how I do it. I don't know about you guys.
So, what's up, Google DeepMind? Thanks for listening to this. I know you're out here.
Hey, we
and
out
so
here.
are we.
And I mean, it's the culmination of 18 movies. Like, the first time we saw Thanos on screen was in 2012.
Right.
And it was the stinger for the Avengers movie, where I think the line is something like, to fight or to try to conquer Earth would be like to court death herself. And then you just have this big, dumb alien turn to the screen and go, wink.
Yeah.
He smiles
Ooh, that
wide.
gives me chills.
Yeah,
Jeff.
I remember.
Hearing you say it.
Walking out of the theater, just like screaming at people, like that was Thanos, and everyone being like, "Who's Thanos?"
Right.
And now, flash forward 6 years, and what, like probably another like 10 movies
Easy.
at least. And Thanos is like everybody's crush. Everyone loves Thanos.
That's right.
now.
You hear kids saying his name now?
Oh, yeah. There's
Never.
Our Thanos did nothing wrong. Popular
Thanos is
subreddit.
in Fortnite. They put
He is,
in there,
which
right?
is
Video
the
game.
most normie move.
yeah.
But I love it. I have come in 3rd place in a Thanos round.
You're
Wow.
Fortniting.
Oh, of course I'm Fortnite.
Wow.
I'm a normie.
I had no idea. Yeah.
It was me versus Thanos, and I popped up and I tried to hit him with a minigun. It didn't work.
You should have hit him in the head.
yeah. I should have gone for the head.
Your winner, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I was holding the gauntlet in place. I was like, "You're never going to be a god," and then he just slapped me down. That was that.
That's what happens. You just
Yeah.
snap.
Just one quick snap.
Yeah, Infinity War, I was blown away. I mean, obviously, billions of dollars being made. And, yeah, like Joe said, it's like 18 movies.
18.
This was the
MCU
19.
movies.
That's unprecedented.
Yeah, so 18
Unprecedented.
leading up to this, right?
18 leading up to it.
Something of this scale has never been attempted in cinema. Like, that's
Absolutely
insane.
not. One
Something
of a kind.
That, man,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's an anomalous creation. Maybe not now because Star Wars can 5 years down. But it's amazing
Yeah,
what they
Star
were able
Wars
to do.
X-19.
Right, but they did it and they delivered. And that's the main thing. Like, I give a lot of shit to Disney trying to monopolize everything, but they're delivering like fairly consistency. Like, it's 75%, like, for me, hit rate on like, this was worth my money.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased with what you're doing with these properties. Like,
When you think about it, like Disney didn't even own Marvel when this all started. I mean, when
Right.
Iron
Until
Man,
Avengers.
when Iron Man came out and they introduced Nick Fury and the idea of an expanded cinematic universe, Disney wasn't in the picture at all. They saw that and were like, "Whoop,
was
I'm
that
going to go
Marvel?
ahead and blow up Xander and Zack that."
Right. Was that Marvel themselves having? Who had the rights at that
It
point?
was Universal had the Hulk.
Yeah, oh,
You had
so it's
Paramount
all
with
such a breakdown.
Captain America.
Yeah.
Okay.
In 1996, they went bankrupt as a company, so
Yeah.
they started selling off all these rights. And like Colin said, like Captain America went to Paramount, Hulk had Universal had Hulk, which they still do in a way. Like we'll never see a Hulk solo movie or a She-Hulk solo movie.
You get a 4D ride.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we get those at
That's cool.
Right.
Islands of Adventure. Is that what that is?
Something like that, right?
It's so fun.
But yeah, Infinity War is huge, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, can I pick a bone with you, Judge? Just something you said real quick. You
let's do
said
it.
culmination. You know, to me, the film does feel a little more like we were talking about earlier. More of a Empire Strikes Back. It leaves you on that big cliffhanger on that.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's
note
when
at
it's
the
not
end.
done.
But it's bringing you right before that final
Right
crescendo.
to the peak. We got Avengers 4, maybe wrapping things up.
But I would even argue that like Infinity War's ending is a bigger hook or a bigger cliffhanger than Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh, bold.
I mean, I don't think we've seen anything at this level.
We weren't in
Sam-
the theaters, though.
We weren't, but at the same time, like, you know, finding out your dad's the bad guy is a lot different than half of the heroes disappearing.
Yeah.
Like, look,
Our favorites going
Our
away
favorites
forever.
Spider-Man died.
Hardly knew ye.
Like, do you know, like,
Spidey, we hardly knew you.
yeah, like Spider-Man is the end-all, be-all for me
Right.
as a person. Like,
tops.
he cuts to me core as a character, and he's gone, which is outrageous. I mean, like, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Bucky, Falcon, yeah, all of the Guardians minus the Rabbit.
Yeah.
Like, you could say that Empire Strikes Back is equivalent, but really, like, what do we find out? Like, oh, his dad's the bad guy, and Han Solo's on ice.
Well, I think
And the good guys lose. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're looking at it simply, right? A major
Yeah.
blockbuster.
Oh,
where
we
the good
blew
guys
it.
fail.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the last images, though, you know, a little bit of peace when we got Luke and Leia next to each other watching the Millennium Falcon take off, opposed to Infinity Wars, where we're watching people they love disappear from their lives forever.
And like,
True.
you know, before the post-credit scene, it's just Thanos smiling over
Chilling.
what he's done. Like, you know, Empire Strikes Back doesn't end with Darth Vader literally, like, popping the helmet off and giving the thumbs up to the camera.
Cracking a
God
Dr.
damn
Pepper.
it.
Job well done,
Yeah, he's
you know?
like, oh, we did it.
That's true. That's true. It's pretty big.
Yeah, that's true.
But, you know, now the problem is, you know, everyone's got phones, right? So when Infinity War happens, and then there's all these leaks about the next movies. So, like, you see Spider-Man with
Yeah,
Captain America
that's
in the
hard.
old
That's hard as a
costumes. So,
fan.
and as, you know,
Yeah, there's a lot of weird A4 leaks.
and as
Weird
film
shit.
people, like you encounter that a lot more. People are going to share like set photos, or you hear some stuff, you know. So it's just you see it more, and so it really hits you when you watch the movie. You think, oh, Spider-Man will be back.
Well, even as a general audience, it's like, oh, in February, Black Panther made $1 billion.
Wait a minute,
I
you're saying they'll
don't
make
think
another
he's
one of
gone.
those?
I think there might be another
man.
one. Even though the screenwriters, they're really sticking to this,
Yeah,
like, no,
God
it's
love
permanent. Get over it. And
Yeah.
It's like, okay, sure it is.
Your biggest cash cow.
Sure, Jan.
Right.
That's right.
But wow, I mean that's it. That's the biggest stuff, right? I mean that's what's out right now. Well, we got
Those are the
Deadpool
big
coming
movies.
up.
Oh,
We got
Deadpool. We didn't
coming
even
up
talk
too.
about Deadpool.
Deadpool 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Another Josh Brolin performance in a comic book
Another
character.
Josh Brolin,
Right.
another big comic book film that's about to dominate the box
Yeah.
office.
I know
Within
Brolin-
3 weeks. It's wild.
Yeah, it's really fast. Josh Brolin, I remember him most fondly in Thrashing.
Goonies?
I know you're a big Goonies fan too, Mike.
Yeah, I like the
Thrashing
Goonies as well.
Goonies.
Enough about me. We got Deadpool 2.
We got
Cable
Deadpool
looks
2.
bad as hell, right? Deadpool 1 was super fun. Now hopefully they get a little bit more wiggle room, you know. More
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And it looks awesome. I mean,
We got Zazie Beetz as Domino, most seen from Atlanta right now, a show we all love with Donald Glover, of course, and Solo as well, playing Lando Calrissian.
All over the place.
all
This is
melding
America, Childish Gambino,
All over
SNL.
the place right now.
that's right.
Yeah, he's like one of the hottest stars.
But yeah, Deadpool 2. So, I mean, we excited about it, Colin?
I'm excited about it. Obviously, there's a little controversy right now with T.J. Miller. People talking about T.J. Miller. What's his role going to be in the future? He's popping up in the news, having a couple outbursts there, kind of making some trouble for himself, in my opinion. You know, that's not going to affect my enjoyment of it. I love Deadpool. He's a very meta character. He's a very funny character. And R-rated, of course, a very interesting take on the superhero film. So I'm extremely excited about it. I love the director, David Leitch, who did John Wick. Big fan of that as well. I think the
That's right.
action is going to be off the charts.
I didn't realize, you know, I haven't done my due diligence on the direction and stuff. I just want to watch it because, you know, I'm not a super huge comic fan, but I'm excited to see it. But if it's the John Wick guy with some Deadpool meta action,
Oh, it's
that,
going to be a lot of
That takes it
Yeah.
to the next level.
that's amazing. Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
gonna be great.
what other superhero do you get like dick and fart jokes with?
Yeah.
I mean, like he is the the end all be all of like adolescence humor.
Yeah. And he shares my love for Mexicali cuisine. So.
Tamales.
Yeah,
Chimichangas, man.
yes, an American invention.
Time to make the fucking chimichangas.
That's right.
Hey, so we'll billboard this a little bit, but I also saw a bit of a spoiler, which I won't talk about here on the podcast, but maybe a fan favorite X-Men villain is featured heavily in the film. So maybe we'll talk about that afterwards. Certainly one of my favorite villains who I really hope to see in the movie.
Oh, man, now you got me all excited.
Oh, man,
more excited than before.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I like Deadpool. I like Deadpool a lot. When we walked out of the first Deadpool movie, my only thought was like, wow, I'm really excited for Deadpool 2. Not necessarily because I was invested in the story, but because I knew they'd have the money to play around a little
they
more.
Could take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Right. They proved themselves with this, you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we'll get some cameos of bigger characters. I mean, we already have some deep cuts from X-Force, which is like, even if you're a comic book fan, to know who Bedlam is pretty outrageous.
Right.
I mean, he's a mutant who can like do an EMP move basically and like disable technology. But in the movie,
I think people are going to be big fans when they see Terry Crews.
Exactly. We're getting Terry Crews as like a C-list X-Men hero.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. And Colin, what's his name? Shatterstar?
Shatterstar.
Is that right? Yeah.
Right.
Another
Fan
favorite
character.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I mean, I'm excited to see it. I'm going to see it. We got Solo coming out soon. Deadpool coming out soon.
Can I ask you, out of those films, guys, are you opening night guys?
Ooh, that's tough. I was for Infinity War.
Probably
but
not.
For those two, I don't know.
Infinity War, but
For Infinity
those
War.
two, probably not.
You know, for Solo, I might be. I'm a sucker, man.
If it's mainline Star Wars, if it's Star Wars 9,
Got their hooks in
opening night. But if it's a side story, that weekend for sure. But
All right, Mike and Joe might be seeing you Solo opening night, guys.
That's right. Deadpool as well. That's a opening weekend movie for sure.
I read comic books.
I read comic books.
I read comic books.
I read comic books.
We read comic books.
Comic books are for everyone, and you'll find the area's best selection at Alter Ego Comics.
I read comic books, and I get them at Alter Ego Comics.
So, guys, everybody knows Infinity War is the big movie right now, but we want to go a little bit from the screen to the page, move into talking about comic books. Mike, hit us with where you are on the spectrum when it comes to comic books.
Yeah, this is so far out of my wheelhouse generally. Like, I know video games, I know movies, but the comics as the books. I owned, like, only the Carnage arc of Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man was my favorite comic book character, but all I had was that, Carnage arc. And, like,
Todd McFarlane run.
Yeah, I had the great covers,
Oh, they were
I just
great.
remember Carnage saying
Were
he was going to...
spectacular Spider-Mans.
Yeah, right. And he was fit Spider-Man into a matchbox when he was done with him. It was like, this metal dude, yeah. So that's it, though. The comics don't run that deep for me. I love the films. Black Panther and Infinity War really blew me away. I love the Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man's probably my favorite comic book character, like Joe, but I don't love him the way that Joe loves him. So
You're a young man, though, so it sounds like were you a teenage comic book owner?
all I had was that Spider-Man and like a couple of I watched the shows in the 90s. I watched the Spider-Man series. I like that a lot. I watched the X-Men show. Obviously, I was
The Batman? Did you watch the
Batman the Animated Series?
I watched some of it, but I didn't. I know it gets a lot of this acclaim as being like one of the best.
It was Emmy Award winning.
Yeah, I probably the best, I guess some would say, but never
Paul
really gotten
Dini.
to Batman. Never really gotten to Batman at all. I like the Dark Knight films, but comics, I was too busy playing Japanese RPGs and,
Playing those video games.
watching anime and stuff, I never read manga, but I was getting into that at that age. I was more into like JRPGs, Final Fantasy, stuff like that. Then comics. So I was doing my reading in text bubbles.
Love it.
Yeah.
So how about you, Jill? Let's throw it over. What is your relationship with comic books? Where are you on the spectrum?
Oh, it's serious. I'd say we're in a committed relationship. On the spectrum, I'd say there's problem socializing, there's medication. But yeah, no, comic books for me, they've been since I was a kid. I couldn't even tell you what my first book was. It's always been a reader and a fan. And when you were a kid, you would see things like Batman the Animated Series or Spider-Man the Animated Series or the X-Men series. And I just wanted more. I wasn't willing to stop at that. And there were these great little morality tales that you would see, and I loved it, man. My yin and my yang.
To you, yeah, you love.
They are. They're the new Greek mythology. You
That's
know,
true.
like when they look back at American culture, I think they will reflect comic book heroes as the Greek gods of the time.
They are
you know?
truly American in a way.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they teach us right and wrong, and the you know what is Superman's saying is literally truth, justice, and the American way. I mean, it is a very American thing, and I think it is a new form of the Greek gods. I mean, there are these little morality tales that we learn through these larger than life characters who mostly live in New York City or Gotham City, which is New York City without saying New York City. So, of course, I love them. My yin and my yang, I would say, have always been Batman and Spider-Man, my light and my dark.
Your angel and your devil.
Yeah.
You follow Marvel, you follow DC.
I do. I read them both. You know, obviously Independence as well, but that's kind of less what we're talking about here, more the major two
Normies
powerhouses.
Like Us pretty much know those two big brands.
Yeah, the powerhouses. And then you got your things like Walking Dead, which has become very normie
And that was a comic,
with the show. Started with the Robert Kirkman book back in the day. And, you know, black and white, cheap comic book. And now, you know,
Look at it now.
Hot Topic, Target, everywhere you go, you see that.
Dominates television.
Yeah.
Huge following.
Massive. I mean, even when they see a fall off, they're still getting...
They're getting numbers
2 or
of
3
shows
times.
We're wishing they were getting, even in these hard times.
Yep, it's comics. How about you, Colin? Where are you on the spectrum?
I would say so. I'd say I'm a little closer to our fans here, our listeners, hopefully. I'd say I'm a normie in the sense that I'd call myself a catch-up kid. You know, I had a dad who collected comic books, a brother who collected comic books, and growing up, I had friends who would put on the back of their shirts Batman because they loved Batman and because my brother loved Ultimate Spider-Man so much. I would think to myself, I gotta know who these guys are just to keep up with them. That's really my relationship with them. You know, I collect a small amount of comics here now, a pretty niche group of Marvel comics, but that's because I'm a fan of the films. I'm a fan of the movies. I love the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. Oh. So when you guys talk about Spider-Man, I'm right there with you. You know, exactly. It's something we grew up with. Yeah. But that Spider-Man animated TV show, too. And I know we're getting a little off topic there, but to get back to the comic page,
yes,
you know, even somebody who was reading the Sunday Funnies, you know, would you count something like that? I don't know, but
I would. I mean, anything you read that's a visual art form with words, that's a comic to me.
So hot take is manga comics.
Oh, they are.
Ooh,
yeah,
interesting.
It's just a different category than the American comic book. So we're kind of looking at here the American myths, right?
Yeah, we're looking more at these two major
that would
universes.
qualify as a comic. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite book, you guys? Or you, like Joe specifically, Colin? Do you guys? Could you pick out a book?
I liked the Fantastic Four as a kid. I liked the old school Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, first 100 issues that they write
American
together.
Heroes,
It's
man.
exactly. It's the old school, perfectly written run where they were capturing my favorite character, Doctor Doom, the best.
You love
Talk
Dr.
about
Doom.
an anti-hero. Talk about a perfect villain. Somebody who, again, to throw it to the movies, has not necessarily been portrayed very well, or at least as a earnest fan, in my opinion, not displayed to the fashion to show off what I like about him to
We'll get
other
a good
people.
one.
So what is it?
Fingers crossed.
What is it about Dr. Doom then? Break it down to me. What in the comics is there that's been missing? Like, what have I not seen? Because I've only seen the movies.
Oh, you know.
So your understanding are
highlighted.
the two versions we've seen in the movies, right?
Like I've seen him in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Oh, there you go. That's
Okay.
even better.
That's as deep as I go, you know.
But that's even better than
the
the
old
movie
60s
version.
cartoon.
Right. So yeah.
I like. So what do I like? Is it the man who has intense mother issues, who is trying to find the lost soul of his mother damned to hell? Is it the struggling king who, like we just saw, people really rallying behind Black Panther, who's trying to do good by his people, the king of a struggling European country, Latveria? I mean, ruled by a gypsy is what he. I don't know if that's an offensive term now, but what he was written
That's true.
as
Is that a
essentially
yesterday
in the
word?
comic book.
Cher made a song about it, I guess.
Is gypsy
Oh, well,
a
there we
yesterday
go.
word?
Is gypsy a yesterday word? That's a great question.
Let us know on. Actually, don't.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
don't.
please don't
Wait,
yell at
don't
us
don't
about
put us on some sort of list.
But, you know, or does it come down to that I just like that he was written so over the top and menacingly? Or does it come down to that my brother's favorite character is Iron Man and I just picked a guy in a metal suit to like do? You know,
Another
who
robot
knows?
man.
Exactly. I just think there's a lot there, and boy, it just again has not been portrayed to the way that I like.
We haven't seen the complexity that I think Doom has.
Shakespearean.
Yeah, very Shakespearean, very old school. Kind of, will he rule? Will he not rule? In the movies, we've gotten a lot more baseline of like, I'm a bad guy. I do bad
he's
stuff.
Got a little corporate, but there's a saccharine darkness to him as the monarch, the troubled, the accent. If you want to throw it all the way back to the old Roger Corman film, I would actually say that maybe
that's probably the best one. Yeah,
we have gotten. Hot take there.
That's true. Hot take. Roger Corman's Fantastic Four is the best Fantastic Four movie. Which they Marvel threw. I think it was like $2.5 million, which at the time was a decent amount of money to bury that movie, so it wouldn't get distribution.
Really?
And now they've made 3 other movies that have all been terrible.
Oh yeah, Fantastic Four has not been treated well, huh?
No. And I guess that's my big dream.
But they're the birth of the Marvel universe.
Spider-Man first appeared in Fantastic Four, right?
Everybody did. Namor first appeared in Fantastic Four. They are the birth of the modern comic book universe. So they existed in a world where these other characters did. Black Panther, Namor, Fin Fang Foom, Inhumans. I mean, all of those guys came from Jack Kirby and Stan Lee's work in the Fantastic Four.
So they deserve a lot more than they've been getting recently on the side.
Absolutely.
And you got to bless on their name, because without them,
we'd have nothing.
None of it.
The Father, Son, the Holy Ghost, the Mr. Fantastic, the Mrs. Fantastic, the Thing, and the Torch.
I thought the plane was the Holy Ghost because you can't see it.
Hey-o.
Anyway. What else about comics? Because I am the most limited in my scope on this, but obviously it's become so huge. So is there anything...
Talking about the modern stuff, everybody's using the apps now. You've got Marvel Unlimited. You've got
Unlimited,
DC trying to follow
Comixology.
That's a model as well.
You had mentioned it before briefly, but the Ultimate Universe, Ultimate Spider-Man, created by Brian Michael Bendis, I think is my favorite book of all time, because it, more than anything, is about a Spider-Man who never gets to grow up. That Spider-Man gets his power when he's 14 years old, and spoiler alert, he is dead by the time he's 18.
Whoa.
You get 4 years of being Spider-Man, and that's it.
Joe, that's a great point. If you think about Spider-Man, a teen in the 60s, a little less relatable than a teen in the 2000s.
Yeah, it's tough to get a hold of. But basically what happened was they saw the success of the first X-Men movie by Bryan Singer with Hugh Jackman and James Marsden and Famke Jensen and all them.
Yep.
And the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, which is still,
I think the third
great movie.
The third movie really salted its legacy.
It did.
Mike, you don't like that one?
I only like Topher Grace.
There we go.
But so you have this.
So they restarted. They were like, this is a brand new universe. So issue 1's for everybody.
Yeah.
And they started Spider-Man. And I was about 10 years old when that started. I mean, we were young, but it was a place where you could just jump in. Issue 1, you are watching Peter Parker get bit by a radioactive spider and meet all of his villains for the first time. So the idea of rebranding the universe for the Ultimates was really, it stuck to me. I've read that series 3 times over every issue.
Love that.
Yeah, they are deep cuts to me.
That's actually pretty interesting to me. I had already gotten out. The last comic I bought was that Carnage arc.
That's right. That's a little older Spider-Man.
That's
Think about
older.
that. That's a middle-aged Peter Parker.
Yeah, he is a grown man at that point.
So the idea of something that had its genesis during when the original X-Men movie came out and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, that appeals to me. Is there an easy way for me to find? How do I read this easily? Right? If I wanted to.
There are so many websites
right now. Joe, hit it to the listeners who want to jump in on Spider-Man.
Yeah, I love Spider-Man. I told you he's my favorite comic character, even as a dabbler. How do we do it?
Well, first and foremost, my advice always is, if you want to jump in, jump in. If you don't have the answers or you don't know necessarily what they're talking about, just Google it. You'll find out who it.
Read what the ongoing currently is?
Yeah, just jump in.
Okay.
Just jump in anywhere. It's fine. I promise it's fine. But if you want to go back, you want to read some good runs, some recommendations that way, read the Ultimate Spider-Man run.
Ooh.
Power and Responsibility, Brian Michael Bendis. Doesn't get any better than that. Spider-Man Blue is a great book. Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb. Yeah, those guys are great. 90s Spider-Man is great. The Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker. One of my favorite books right now, Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man, written by Chip Zdarsky, who created a comic book called Sex Criminals I really love. That's a little edgier.
Questionable audio clip to have.
But, that is more Spider-Man the millennial. Spider-Man the 20-something, early 30s, just trying to make it. A guy who just... nothing ever goes his way.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I get it, man. Nothing ever goes my way either.
Spidey, a book from about, I think, 2-3 years ago.
Oh, I love
oriented
Spidey.
towards
That's a good
younger
one.
viewers, too. So
yeah, and that was about his first couple years. Spidey, issue 1, Learning to Crawl. That's a great book, too.
Wow, that's a great book
That's a
title
good
as
one.
well.
Yeah. But, honestly, if you're going to jump in with comics, just jump in. Don't be afraid. It's easy to be intimidated by the history of comic books, but just go for it. And they're constantly rebooting these universes. Like, Colin, how many times have we seen Marvel restart since the Ultimates?
I hinted at it earlier. I collect a very particular run of Marvel comic books called Marvel Now. Not even the current continuity of Marvel comics.
No, 'cause
I'm
that's
out of the loop now, folks.
Yeah, it's there's been on the Marvel side, so not even touching the DC side. There was Marvel 616. 616 was the universe that those comics exist in.
That's the core. That's the cornerstone.
Because there are parallel universes. 616 is the one we follow. Then they created the Ultimates, which was a different universe, and that's fine. And then we had Marvel Now, right? All new Marvel, all new, all different Marvel, Marvel Legacy, right? Are there any I'm missing in between there?
I think that's where we're sitting right now.
Yeah, and all of those reboots have happened in the last 5 years.
Wow.
That is all happening. Basically, every time they break $1 billion at the box office, they give a chance for new readers to jump in.
Can you get lost? Can you get a little frustrated as a comic book fan with that?
Oh, absolutely. It's easy to get a little confused, but the bottom line is just jump in.
Do I need to be buying books, do I need to get physical copies? Is that still a market for that? Obviously people are collecting, but I assume there's digital formats now that are...
Yeah, if you go on, I think it's Marvel Unlimited, right?
That's right.
Marvel Unlimited, and Comixology is one I really like. They are...
Getting digital comic books.
Yeah, you can get digital comic books from a wide variety, not just Marvel, not just DC, even if they're smaller books that you might think oh, I like sci-fi titles. Maybe I want to get involved in this Saga book. You'll see that, and it's all on there as well.
Saga, love that record.
Yeah, just got to throw that out there. That's one of my favorites.
For the listeners, they're what's that website? What's the,
Comixology.com.
Comixology.
Couldn't recommend it anymore. It's basically Netflix for your comic books.
Wow.
If you want to get in touch with your nerdier side, just go ahead in there and search the heroes you like. You like Black Panther? Tessa Nia Coates. Great fucking Black Panther run. There's a million on there. Like I said, Chip Zdarsky's Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man, couldn't recommend that anymore.
Wow.
And, it all comes back to the movies, too, right? They've got the Venom movie coming out, right? Are you guys excited for that one?
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about the Venom movie. It feels very Linkin Park.
Yeah, people give it a lot of early hate, too, kind of like that Solo.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just getting old and I want to hate things. I got LA traffic.
Mike.
Yeah, I'm old bitter Mike. I'm Logan, but without the cool edge. I want Venom to be good. Me and Joe have talked about this, off air, the concern that how do you make a Venom movie without Spider-Man? And you can elaborate on that, Colin, if you have an opinion on that.
Well, I'll say this even worse. It just came out. How do you make a Venom movie that's PG-13, not R?
Oh, really?
Just dropped.
Wow, see, that is the one thing that I thought was going to save them, is they'll get, edgelords who are excited about the fact that it's an R-rated superhero
Tom Hardy
movie.
says he wants to make a superhero film for his teenage son.
Huh?
Wow. See,
I can't blame Tom Hardy, but someone's got to be saying, look, Spider-Man and Venom, that's a yin and a yang, right?
Yeah.
You got your light and your dark. Without your light, you just got dark.
Without being honest to the character, you're saying?
Yeah, you have to have an understanding of who Spider-Man is or likeness of Spider-Man to get Venom. Venom is the Dark Spider-Man.
And since this is the only books that I bought, I can actually speak about this.
Yeah, you know this.
The only one I'm interested in is Venom, right?
By the way, Carnage rumored to appear.
Really? See, that's the one that you would need to have an R-rated film for.
Absolutely. Serial killer Cletus Cassidy, please.
Yeah, if you do not have Spider-Man, because basically the symbiote suit hates Spider-Man, and then Eddie Brock hates Peter Parker, so together they have, that's the yin and yang, like Joe said.
Hate Spider-Man together.
Yeah.
But the only
we
other
really
thing
hate that guy.
Yeah, the only other thing he has is to try to stop Carnage. And so if they don't introduce that and it's not R-rated, it will not work. That's the way I feel.
How do you make a movie?
Yeah, with and like what Joe has told me before. What if he has the spider logo on him?
Ooh,
Yeah, if you see Venom with a logo, I mean, why are you ripping off a guy who doesn't exist in that universe?
Yeah,
Just be like, I really like spiders. I'm a symbiote, from another planet, but spiders on Earth. That's my jam.
He saw a homecoming billboard and
He was like, I'm going to get into
films,
that.
folks.
tight. But yeah, I mean, I want it to be good because that's the only comic run I went out and bought because I like that arc of the TV show. When it starts with the robot. The spider killer robots.
Spider Slayers.
Spider Slayers.
Created by J. Jonah Jameson in the comic.
Yeah. So you got the Spider Slayers, and then they bring back, come back from space. They have the symbiote in there, and then, you get Venom coming out, and then eventually Carnage, and they team up begrudgingly to stop Carnage. That was my favorite arc. That's why I bought the book. So I want it to be good. I want the Spider-Verse to be good because that is the most invested I've...
Spider-Verse. That's making me nervous. Just
those words make me tingle now.
Well, sense is tingling.
Yeah, it is. It is. My spidey sense is tingling because we're going to get the Miles movie.
That's right.
And Miles,
The Spider-Verse.
oh, he is like, if you thought Peter Parker was an emotional teenage boy, you wait until you read Miles Morales because he'll tell you
of the Ultimate Marvel Universe that you were talking about earlier.
Brian Michael Bendis again. One of the godfathers of modern comic books. I would say like him, like Jim Lee, like Mark Waid. I mean, are there any other names you would throw in there in terms of the godfathers of modern comics? We're just building off a history and moving forward. Because I think with comic books, it's easy to get intimidated. It's easy to think like, oh, I don't know that. Like, there's too much history. Just jump in. You'll figure it out. And if you don't, you can always read that stuff later.
The thing is with media nowadays, we have so much access to everything. You could do nothing but read comic books from today until the day you die, and you will not even scratch the surface.
No,
right?
you'll get nowhere near it.
Yeah, I could play every video game, watch every movie, read every book. You won't do it.
Well, I'd say there's going to be a lot of normies like us who do things like get on the internet and just go to some of these pirating sites, read every comic book you can, see every movie you can, play every video game you can. I'm right there with them.
Just go down the rabbit hole, like Joe said. Just jump in there. Like I'm interested in reading this Spider-Man run. Where he dies. Right? That's insane to me.
The Ultimate Spider-Man universe. It's just so touching. I mean, like if you're a man in this world who's like gone through high school, you're gonna love watching this kid do it. Yeah. I mean, it's very relatable. At its core, it is a kid who just nothing ever goes right for him.
Except he does get superpowers, and even that apparently doesn't go right for him.
Yeah, and that's just as much a curse as it is a blessing. That's the Parker luck.
So coming up in other comic runs, we're going to be talking more about independence. We're going to be talking about DC comic characters, your favorites there. We'll be doing deep dive on character specifics. If you want to hear specific Batman-oriented episodes.
That's true,
if you want to hear like Little Ponies, the My Little Ponies getting their Boom Universe debut in comic books, please, we'll be tackling
G.I.
things
Joe.
like that as well. G.I. Joe.
Star Wars Adventures, the kid-friendly solo book that's coming out. It's pretty exciting. The G.I. Joe universe. It's another one that Boom does.
G.I. Joe's coming back now, or has it been established?
Well, it's been running for a bit, but there's going to be a Snake Eyes solo run.
Ooh,
that's pretty cool.
Leading up to that movie.
Fun. Yeah.
Right, there's a Snake Eyes movie?
There's a Snake Eyes movie on the way.
We won't get too much into that.
Wow. All right, well, hold on that.
I feel bad we didn't talk a lot about DC, but with the movies, they're just kind of like the stepchild right now. It's like,
they're the stepping stones for a lot of listeners to dip their toes into what comic books actually could be.
Yeah.
They've gone through the same type of reboots, though, right? There's the New 52 and Rebirth, which just started. All-Star Batman. That's a series I like.
I've been hearing a lot about Batman Metal recently. I've been seeing that.
Oh, that's a good event.
It seems very cool.
Scott Snyder, huge
Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo
Justice
doing the
League.
arts. Yeah.
So there are DC books that people could be getting into, even if the movies aren't great, because Marvel's already killing it.
Yeah, there are plenty of great books.
Is there anybody who's like, I mean, besides the normies like us giving you recommendations, is there anybody like, kind of making it easy for people to figure out like what type of books they would be into, or what? I guess you just search characters, right?
Yeah, I mean, Rebirth is pretty new. DC reboot within the last 2 years. It just started.
Okay.
So you can go back and find issue number 1's really easy. Characters like Batman, Nightwing, Blue Beetle is a character I think is going to be a lot of people's favorites moving forward. He's almost kind of like the new Iron Man for DC.
Yeah, almost the Spider-Man, too.
Yeah, because he's young.
And he's a bug.
And he's a bug.
That's right. And he's
double down there.
Right. Yeah, I have a question then. Is there any stuff like on the horizon that's not out yet in the comic world? Like, is there anything that's like been announced that is not yet, out on public? Like, you can't read it yet. Is there anything that's been announced from Comic-Cons or WonderCons that's going to be like a big deal that people are excited about? Is there any buzz going on?
Justice League is relaunching right now. Venom issue 1 just dropped, but that's, I haven't even read it yet. It came out on Tuesday.
Oh.
Brand new.
We're about to see Thor return to being Thor once
That's
again.
right. Yeah, he's
Really?
worthy again.
That's right. It was Jane Foster, a female Thor, for a little bit there. So Marvel doubling down, sort of backtracking to their legacy issues. We're going to see a lot of your old favorites returning to their original positions of power.
Yeah, with an all-new Avengers lineup. So we're
Wow.
going to see characters like Black Panther, Steve Rogers as Captain America, Odinson as Thor. They're all coming back.
Well, I didn't even realize. Like, it makes sense that they're going to lean back into that, but to touch back on the Venom book, like, that's something that will get me to go back to read it.
Oh, yeah. It just started, and I love Ryan Stegman is his name, the artist. It is really incredible work.
What else has he worked on? Anything else of note?
A lot of Spider-Man books.
Okay.
Some of the ones I recommended earlier, like Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, Spider-Man Spectacular Spider-Man by Chip
great
Zdarsky.
arc.
Those are all stuff that Ryan Stegman has had art on. He's really proud of this book, so hopefully it's pretty good.
Well, I'm going to check that out. I'm going to have to go to Comixology,
That's the website, man.
try to peep the Venom book for sure. And, I'm trying to get more into it, too, because I'm just a normie in the world of comics, but there's a lot of meat on that bone, and I want to get at it.
Dive deeper.
That's
Both
right.
of these companies have YouTube pages where they do things like Marvel Minute, and I believe DC does one as well.
those are all
too,
so
where they
nice,
can
yeah.
tell you about the syndication that's about to come out and all the upcoming comic books that are going to be released. So please get out there, do your research, find these great avenues to get into these books.
Yeah, there's plenty of content. Go out there and start absorbing.
It's a good way to do it. Now, is that comics?
That's comics.
I think that's comics.
Which looks like, guys, we're going to be jumping from the page down into the game. We're talking video games next.
The name of this game is Stay Alive. We don't know much else other than we're not supposed to act.
Miller died the same way he died in the game. This can't just be a coincidence.
I think you're right.
Serious, man? Listen to yourself.
Don't you get it? If you die in the game, you die for real.
Video games. Every kid played them.
Well, most kids played them, and a lot of adults are still playing them.
That's right.
And that's why we're here now.
We just never stopped.
We never stopped. Well, you look at something like League of Legends. It had bigger streaming numbers than the NBA playoffs right now. So
Oh my God.
pretty
the
normie.
audience is-
Obviously, people are interested.
Sports are niche. Games are normie now.
Whoa.
I don't mean that, but anyway. So let's see.
I do. That's the hot take.
That is. I like that take, though. I prefer that to live in that world where I'm not looked at as a basement dweller. So let's talk games then. Where are we on the spectrum, Colin? What's your games?
What's
I'd
your
say-
favorite game?
Look, I'd say I'm a big
Should do
video
that.
game fan. I played video games since I was a kid. My first console, the Super Nintendo. I remember my dad buying one at an airport, if you can imagine that, and bringing
Really?
it home to us after a business trip, and me saying, "What is this?" So video games have changed a little bit since then. I'm an old school guy. I know I just mentioned Nintendo. I would say my favorite video game is Ocarina of Time.
Oh, that's great.
It's the best. Nintendo 64, The Legend of Zelda, Link, taking charge of the Green Warrior himself, saving the princess, taking on the bad guy Ganon. I mean, I've got so many fantastic memories. I was, 10 years old when that video game came out.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it blew my mind. Saw 3D Mario played on that thing, right, at a Toys R Us.
Super Mario World, right?
With his big, goofy
Super Mario
3D
64.
head.
64, yeah.
Super Mario 64. But seeing him in that Toys R Us walking up the first time I saw video games in 3 dimensions,
Yeah.
I mean, I still remember it, guys. Blowing my mind.
I mean, that Ocarina of Time, they took that engine that they used for Mario 64 and, they created verb sets that have reverberated through the game industry. They defined how a 3D game should work.
Wow.
Oh, and they didn't want to throw it away when they used it again for Majora's Mask.
No, exactly. Majora's Mask is kind of like a Ocarina 1.5. It was almost supposed to be DLC, but it's
I'll
still
say
great content.
I'm not normie enough for that, guys, or maybe I'm too normie. But I'm not cool enough that I played too much Majora's Mask.
No, but Ocarina of Time is... They changed the game.
Changed the game. Every kid on the school bus was talking about that video.
They created Z targeting. Like, lock onto an enemy with a shoulder button. That was created in Ocarina of Time. I mean,
yeah.
Or, that's it. So that's huge. That's a great favorite game. It still holds up today.
Favorite game. I love it. I've played it ports. I've played it in emulators, downloaded through Nintendo themselves. I mean, every time they sell that game, I bought it on Nintendo 3DS. Every time they sell that game, I'm a sucker. I'll buy it again.
Yeah, that's one where the Wii Store had that again and again.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easily available. You can play it on any Nintendo platform. There's probably a port for it, and it's great.
Probably the first open world video game I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah, I could kind of, unless you count Myst, I don't know. But that's a great one. That's a great first one. Ocarina of Time. If you haven't played it, play it. Joe, favorite video game?
Favorite video game?
And where are you on the spectrum?
Where am I on the spectrum? I'm pretty normie.
Okay.
I would say I'm...
you said you played Fortnite.
Yeah, I did. I did. I mentioned Fortnite. I'm about as normie as it gets with video games. I would say my favorite video game of all time is Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2.
Right.
Which was a adaptation of the Sam Raimi movie. But it had an open world to it where you would just kind of swing around and stop crimes, almost like Grand Theft Auto, but the opposite.
Everything
you were
in that
a good
era.
guy.
A sandbox.
Yeah, I loved it so much.
So there was a Spider-Man hook then.
Yeah, it was the Spider-Man hook, and now the thing I'm most excited for is Spider-Man PS4, which is going to be an exclusive.
Yep.
And I love things like the Batman Arkham series, which are Rocksteady put those out, and they're. For me, they're just great takes on the Batman mythos, and they have plenty of deep cut villains like Calendar Man and Hugo Strange, who they're not in the movies, but in the comics, if you read them, you know who they are. So to see them in a video game is a lot of fun, and just to be the heroes you liked. As a kid, I remember, my first system. My brother's a little older, so we had a Nintendo.
You're talking old school.
Yeah,
Nintendo
legit
system.
Duck Hunt, Super Mario Brothers.
The same cartridge.
They were. And then we had a Super Nintendo, but the first one that was a real experience, I remember thinking this is different, was the N64. And getting the N64 with Mario 64 and Shadows of the Empire, the Star Wars game where you play as Dash Rendar.
It's all connected.
Dash Rendar is one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time because of that video game where you're just Han's buddy who's looking for him.
Nice.
That was such a big tie. And
you think Dash is going to be in the movie?
If he was, I'd be so happy.
God, 64 video game? Wow.
While we got our attention here, Boba Fett. Any predictions there?
Oh, that's a good bet. I don't think so because I think they're going to save him. I think I think they'll do something with him on his own.
And then he'll get a great game with a jetpack.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah. Spider-Man 2 also, it's has the best web swinging. A lot of people laud it for the
mechanics were so natural. I mean, it was almost like you're playing Tony Hawk, but you're web swinging.
Yeah, exactly.
Web swinging.
It captured that.
And the film's actors did all the voiceover.
Yeah, and Bruce Campbell did the run-ins. Bruce Campbell, of course, best friend of Sam Raimi from Evil Dead all the way to
huge character.
The Oz movie. He even has a bit in that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that comes around to me, and I love video games. I played a lot more growing up than I do now, but I still play a lot of them. My favorite video game is Final Fantasy VII. My favorite video game series is the Dark Souls series, which that's huge. It's coming out on Switch. It's coming out on the remaster.
Yeah, it's about to be brand new again.
I mean, the first game is, a lot of people argue it's the best game, has the best level design, and it's all...
When you say you're into video games, on the spectrum, though, Mike, you'd say you're pretty bad when it comes to video games, right? Pretty heavy there, right?
I'm pretty heavy. I go,
you're
pretty bad
deep in there. Getting pulled out of the main classes.
Video games are what you love.
I can barely hold down a job, man. I'm trying to fit in there. I love video games. I think, I always credit video games for, my success in reading comprehension. I mean, I never read books as a kid, but I played all these Japanese RPGs. It's all text bubbles.
Wow.
And then when you take the SAT, you don't have to pat myself on the back, but I was like in the 97th percentile on reading. Only 3% of kids did better than me, and they're all reading books, you know. I played
You were reading them.
Right, that's how I learned to
Pages.
read. And the complex stories and stuff. Like, I cut my teeth on reading in RPGs, and like most, 9, 10-year-olds were probably not interested in a game where you have to read so much.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah, but so I was into that, and then obviously looking at Ocarina of Time. Without Ocarina, there's no Dark Souls. Dark Souls is just a very gritty version.
Dark Souls.
Yeah, of Ocarina of Time. You have Z targeting, you're exploring dungeons, you have a real-time combat. And then now it's full circle to where people are comparing Breath of the Wild to Dark Souls.
Breath of the Wild is the first Zelda game I've played.
Oh, right.
I never touched a Zelda game. But what's funny though is Link is my character in Smash. I love Link as a character.
Smash, absolutely. So not even Ocarina of the Time. Really?
No, never played it, man. Breath of the Wild is the first example, and it's literally just like the surfing you could do, just jumping on that shield was so exciting to me.
Yeah, I hear that's like the mechanics. I have not touched Breath of the Wild yet. Have you played it, Colin?
It's very natural.
I own a Switch. That is the highest end console I own at the moment, and I love it. A Nintendo Switch, and I love Breath of the Wild.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I want to get my hands on it. I haven't. I'm just waiting for the Dark Souls remaster, which is a derivative of Zelda anyway. Pretty much any action RPG is. The technology they created and all that stuff, it became a verb set that people would twist, in their own way for different games. So
it all comes full circle.
It really does. Well, here's the thing. When are we going to get a Zelda movie, right? Probably never, but at least we got Super Mario Brothers. So.
But see, that's the reason why people say Nintendo felt so burned by Super Mario Brothers' response that they don't want to use their big tier characters in these properties anymore.
I don't know why. That's a cinematic masterpiece.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You've got Bob Hoskins.
Welcome
John
to the
legend. John Leguizamo.
Obviously, your Mario and Luigi duo.
Dennis Hopper. I mean, they've got two of my favorite actors of all time. God rest their souls.
God rest their souls.
In an adaptation of one of the best-selling characters of all time. It's hard to argue it's not a success.
Well, if it's trying to be a film, it definitely fails. If it's trying to make money,
or an adaptation of what it's about,
with like a game with no story, hardly. I mean,
let's take it back though. Mike, first console.
No, my first console that I owned. Let's go back. The first console I played was a regular Nintendo. Just Nintendo Entertainment System.
Old school Nintendo Entertainment System.
My older cousin had it, the Duck Hunt cartridge with the Mario on it. That was the main business right
had
there.
the
baseline.
Yeah, they had the zapper.
Wow.
So played Duck Hunt, played Mario. That was like first exposure. First console I owned was a Sega Genesis. Played a lot of Sonic. I shifted from Nintendo that day and really never went.
Talk about too the cultural relevance of video games.
Yeah,
it's not just something like you do by yourself. Like they're a part of the zeitgeist now.
That's true.
Like you mentioned Dark Souls. I've never played a Dark Souls game,
right? But
I know Praise the Sun.
Yep.
I know that if something's hard, it is the hardest thing. It's Dark Souls. It is
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
I made the Dark Souls of pancakes this morning.
I drove in the Dark Souls of traffic every morning.
Yeah, but you're rolling your eyes, Mike, as a fan, as a guy who says Dark Souls is his favorite video game.
Yeah.
How do you feel when a new video game like God of War comes out and people say it's like Dark Souls, but you can understand it?
Ooh. That to me doesn't sound like Dark Souls, but I mean, it's just a comparison, I mean, everybody, you got to have a baseline so people understand what you're talking about. Dark Souls was compared to like other action RPGs of the day, because they didn't know how else to talk about it. And now that Dark Souls is a verb that people have, they're going to use it. Game journalists will use it, and that's just how it is. So yeah, if Dark Souls is popular and people know Dark Souls means difficult. That's basically what it means. It doesn't mean the story is told diegetically through item descriptions or through environment design. It just means it's hard.
Yeah, that's all I know.
That's all it means, right? And to me, it's not even hard, and the creator said it's not hard. It's just meant to teach you to overcome adversity. Like, if you want to make a hard game, you wanted to make a game that would teach you, like, how to overcome, difficulty, like how to train yourself to be better, right? But anyway, enough about Dark Souls. The thing is, every hard game is not Dark Souls. There's harder games than Dark Souls. There's way harder games. Play Contra on this, Nintendo.
But not in the culture. In the culture, it's Dark Souls.
Yeah, that's a hard game. But like Ninja Gaiden is a third-person action game that's way harder than Dark Souls.
God, I remember reading Xbox Magazine trying to figure out how to beat that game.
I'd never beat Gaiden, and I like Dark Souls. I don't think I'm an expert at it, but it's hard, but it's fair. Like, everything you need to win is there.
The rules are the rules.
The rules are the rules, and they follow it. That's why people like video games, because it has rules, and you have a way to win. Life doesn't have rules.
Not so much.
Yeah, but video games do. Video games, there's a way to win if you follow the rules, and they generally adhere to those rules. That's why people like games, I think, because there's a way to succeed.
Hey, so while I got you here, though, I'm going to make you two my panel experts, Mike and Joe, talking video games. Let me ask you a couple questions. We're going to do some lightning rounds. You're going to tell me if this, applied to video games, is normie or not.
Okay. Sounds good.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, let's do it. Owning a home console.
Normie.
Yeah, it's normie.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
You're playing
Most
on your
people,
Xbox, you're playing on your Switch.
Well, and even if it's just to watch Netflix or watch DVDs, a lot of people think I might as well get a video game system. Maybe I'll play it, maybe I won't.
Very true. It's your Blu-ray player now.
Yeah, exactly.
The PS2 is the number one selling console of all time because it was the cheapest DVD player on the market.
That's why I got my first one.
That's it.
It was
Many
something to
people-
have at home, yeah.
Exactly. I think it's normie. I think the most normie thing is playing cell phone games exclusively.
That's true.
Normie, cell phone games.
But that's fine, play the games. So consoles, normie.
I play cell phone games all the time.
All right, back in. How about this? A gaming computer. Normie or not?
It's
normie.
That's
normie? I'm in the process of building one. It's normie.
I'm going to have to argue with you guys there. I don't know about that. Joe, hit me. It's normie.
Google it right now. If you Google it, there's going to be 9 million hits that show up that show you exactly what parts to buy and exactly how to make it. Steam, I mean, it's got to be way up there in terms of consoles, just in terms of people downloading games directly from them.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think people taking the step to build a PC, the average person, in my opinion, a lot of my cousins, family members too, they're console gaming. I do know PC gamers, but I think it takes an extra level of dedication to want to take that step to build it.
That's true.
Yeah,
and it's getting there, though.
Are we
That's what I
talking
think
about a
pushes it.
computer contributed just to video game playing? A gaming computer?
Yeah, I mean, I guess not for a gaming computer, but building a computer with the idea of, I can play games
And
as
stream.
well. Or buying a
video
computer of
card.
I can play games. I think it's something that's thought of more than in the past. Or when you're building a computer or you're buying a computer, you think about games when you didn't before.
All right, this one not unanimous though.
Yeah,
let's
not at
hit
all.
it. Let's hit a vote. I'm going to say not normie.
Okay.
I'm going to say normie.
I don't know. Here's the thing. It's becoming more normie because of streaming culture. If I can build a PC to play games and stream, revenue, right?
Maybe I'm just
as
ahead of the
streaming
curve here.
becomes more. I think it's still because someone has really want to put in the work to build it, even if the instructions are there. You don't have to build a console; you just buy it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit more hardcore. It is getting more normal, but it is not normie.
Becoming normie. Wow.
It's on the way. Streaming is doing all that, though.
Which is great, by the way. I'm in the process of building one. Just go ahead and Google it. You can find 9 million different guides.
I got eyes on building one, too. I mean, and I love the gaming industry. I want it to do well. I want people to play any games they like so these companies survive. So get a gaming PC and get in there if you want to.
Wow, that seems so out of my scope. But boy, something I might be interested in looking into.
Yeah, you should do it, man. It's pretty easy.
And it's fun. You get to use screwdrivers and,
soldering wires.
Yeah, not a lot of soldering.
Well, you do it once. You'll feel really fancy.
Yeah, boy, building nerd stuff might be normie after all.
Yeah.
You buy your soldering iron to use on one connection. That's normal.
One time.
Okay, last one. How about this? Real quick, tell me if this is normie or not. How about watching Let's Plays? That's where people play video games.
Oh, that's ultimate normie to me.
Fuck, dude.
Wow. Yeah. Again, maybe I'm a little slow to the thing here, but that's...
No, I think that's ultimate normie.
I think there's shades of gray with it.
That's true.
I think watching a Let's Play of a popular video game or watching a popular streamer like Ninja or PewDiePie, that's normie.
But we're not talking about hints. I'm not looking up cheats. I'm not watching videos.
No, you just want to see what gameplay looks like.
I want to see people playing a Let's
I'll look at Let's Play before I buy a game, just to see if the gameplay is as promised in the trailers.
That's your demo now.
Yeah, because a lot of times you'll see trailers and it looks incredible, and then you get the game and it's nothing like that. So a Let's Play, you watch someone else actually go through it, and you're like, okay, like Sunset Overdrive. I remember the trailers were like, wow, this looks crazy. And then you see them actually play it, and it's still fun, but it's not exactly what you were promised, which is a little worrisome because that's the company that's doing Spider-Man PS4.
Ooh.
which is like my biggest. That'll be a countdown for the cast.
Well, that's a reason to make it nervous.
It's coming soon. Should I be excited?
Yeah, it's difficult when like a developer you don't really trust takes one of your properties.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's always tough.
Well, Mike, how much time are you devoting to watching these?
I mean, thing is, I look at the categories of normie ones and not normie ones. If you're watching speed runs, you're not a normie. Like, if you want to see how people can beat Dark Souls in 25 minutes through, like, glitching or Ocarina of Time in 20 minutes, that's not a normie thing, but just
That's
casually.
niche. You're niche to normie there.
You're niche as fuck. But if you just want to watch, like, Fortnite with Drake, that's the most normie thing.
It's out there, man.
Wow, there we go. In the popular conscious.
If it gets you into gaming and you want to play, that's great. You know, it's fine. You know, nothing wrong with being into normie shit. You know, I watch my own share of that stuff too.
I got no experience with it, I'll be honest with you, but this is the old stick in the mud in me, but even I can say I do think that is normie. I will see that to you guys. People are watching these games. People are watching people play these games. It's normie now, unanimous.
One of the good things about it, though, is like there's a lot of kids maybe like say games are expensive now. Maybe you can't afford the game, but you want to see it.
It's,
now
$60.
Yeah,
that is
especially for a kid.
Big chunk of change. There goes your allowance.
I mean, I'm a grown man. It's a lot to me.
Yeah,
that is not. If it's more than I would spend at a bar, it's a lot of money.
That's true. You got to sacrifice something, you know. Like Resident Evil, right? If you buy that game, Resident Evil 7, for instance, like maybe you could beat it in 10 hours or less. If you don't have the money to like spend on that, you just watch it once.
Yeah.
And you got what you need out of it. It's
a movie now.
It's a movie now, and that's right. They're getting closer to that line.
Which a lot of, I mean, how many different cutscenes? That's something like how watching through cutscenes on YouTube. I mean, is that very normie at this point?
I do that. I gotta say,
I do that too. Yeah,
I watched most of the cutscenes.
Never played it, but I watched it.
Yeah, we were talking a lot about horror movies earlier on, and the horror games are really some of the biggest stream things because it's something. It is a movie.
It's an experience.
You just watch it.
Wow.
Five Nights at Freddy's, all these horror games, Markiplier, all these people play these horror games. You know, Slender Man games, stuff like that, because people want to just be part of the ride and just watch it as a movie.
Yeah.
You know, so
I've got a 12-year-old cousin. He loves Five Nights at Freddy's.
Never played it.
Never played it.
I've seen it.
Sure.
I would like to. I don't know.
Merch at Toys R Us. Think about that.
That's true. It's huge.
Well, not for too much longer.
Not for too much longer.
You can't get anything at Toys R Us for too much longer.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's gaming, man.
That's gaming, man.
That's gaming, man.
Yeah, it's it's great. You know, like I said, I remember in high school when they turned the corner, you know, I was playing Japanese RPGs and stuff, and then Halo 2 came out, and you could do LAN parties, you could play online. I remember thinking, why would I want to play online? I want to sit on the couch. But then everybody was playing, you know.
Wait a minute, I can meet friends this way.
Yeah, but, you know, the jocks were playing Halo, you know, the nerds were playing Halo. They were co-mingling, right?
There was a
baseline.
A Tony Hawk mode where you would throw flame balls by doing a kickflip, and you would play it online, and it was like Halo but with kickflips. I think it was Tony Hawk Underground. Like that was like my first online gaming experience.
Really,
it was like I'm playing online with a bunch of people doing kickflips for fireballs.
Yeah, what are we even doing?
That's a good thing.
Nothing.
What's your first online gaming experience then, Colin? We should touch on.
I would definitely say Halo as well. Definitely kids coming over, plugging in LAN cables directly into what looked like a gigantic dial-up modem, the Xbox itself.
Yeah.
And would you put people on the top floor and in the basement so they wouldn't be able to screen look?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Running long cables. If I get really into the how niche I am with gaming, I was playing online games that were MUDs. Are you familiar with these?
No, not at all.
They're completely text-based, like, adventure games. So they're kind of like D&D. Like, I move north, you type it in, and then, like, text box comes up and describes, and there's also other players in there.
Wow.
And so it's like
playing this on an old dial-up PC.
I did have it on a zip disk, and it was not dial-up.
The days of AOL.
It was DSL. It was DSL AOL days. My older cousins got me into it. That's how I learned about Demon Souls. They were getting the imports. Like they were into the stuff, and I wanted to be older because I was younger. And I wanted to be a cool kid. But yeah, so these like D&D-esque text-based RPGs. It wasn't even no graphics. It's all text. Like you attack, and they just describe it to you like a DM would in a text block. You know,
that's wild.
So that's my first online game experience. But then Halo was when it became like what we associate with that. You know,
everybody does this.
Bros,
like a couch co-op feel. Like I can talk to the guy, and like Halo 2 was one for that. Yeah,
I'll always yearn for the days of couch co-op. True play though.
That's why Smash Brothers is still so fun.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because you're actually there, and like there's something about like sitting on a couch with your friends playing a game.
You talk shit, you know.
It's irreplaceable.
Yeah, it's and that's Nintendo's thing. You know, even with the Switch, they show these cool millennials on a rooftop busting out their Joy-Cons. You know?
Oh, maybe I'll play on the bus. Who knows where I'm going?
Yeah, who knows who I'll meet?
Exactly, and there's plenty.
They probably have a Switch too.
Right? Hey, we should switch information. There's plenty of people talking.
corny Mike.
Hey, guys.
Mike's got them dad jokes.
This is a fine mic. I don't think it's corny at all. Ayo, bad boys. Yeah, I mean, Switch is... Nintendo's always been social. That's what the Wii was. The Wii U was a failed expansion on that. Like Wii U 1.5. But the Wii blew that up,
Wii Sports, we play it all the time. That is our go-to.
The Wii Sports, right? It's
when people are around, I mean, like golfing or bowling with your buddies.
It's so intuitive.
With your mom.
Yeah.
And I think most people who own that as a child living at home, you probably played it with your mom or your dad.
Yeah. Can I drop a fact on you guys real quick?
Oh, I'd love it.
Favorite game of Queen Elizabeth. Still plays Wii bowling.
Really?
Really? Wow.
She saw it at one of her nephew's parties, insisted to get the console herself. Still plays it with her friends.
That's so fun.
That's huge.
And she's royal, so.
Yeah, gaming's Normie now. Deal with it. Everybody plays games. Yeah. And it's good.
Cricket. You got to know what a crumpet is to play cricket.
Is that a Ninja Turtles reference?
It is.
Yeah, okay.
Turtles in Time, man. First co-op, yeah.
That's great stuff.
Oh. Konami, they did the Avengers game too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were going to say the X-Men arcade game. Boy,
I was thinking the Avengers one.
For me.
Yeah. Those were all. Me and my brother, we'd sit there and we'd play those for hours.
I was at the arcade bar Friday night and I saw the X-Men arcade game still getting play.
Oh, are you kidding? Of course.
It's huge.
It's Storm, Colossus, Dazzler.
Oh, Dazzler.
I love Dazzler.
And Wolverine? Is that all of them?
Storm, Cyclops.
Dazzler and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
What a game.
If I was an X-Men, my name would be Dabbler because that's as much as I know about comics.
I put my feet in.
Let's dabble.
Hey, that's good.
There we go. Back to full circle. Marvel, well, they were doing games back then. They're doing games now. We got Spider-Man.
It's always here.
It's always here. They always will be here. And, yeah.
Guys, that's video games getting Normie like us. So we talked our categories. Now, before we wrap up, let me take us into the future here. I want to do a little segment talking about what we think might be coming up, a hit or shit. I'm talking about anything that we talked about today. Just bring me a category, guys. Anything that we talked about today. We talked about some movies. We talked about some video games. We talked about some comic books coming up. Me personally, I'll ask you here right now, Deadpool 2, are we thinking hit or shit?
I'm going to say shit.
Wow.
Which is the hottest take I think we'll get of the podcast. Deadpool, as much as I love him, is a one-note character. We hit that note in the first movie. I don't think a sequel is going to live up to the dick and fart jokes of the original.
A comedy sequel typically do not do well.
Yeah, and Thanos is such an iconic performance. I don't know if Cable is going to be able to live up or just be... kind of in the shadow in terms of like Josh Brolin summer movies, because Josh Brolin is appearing in 4 movies for the next 4 months. I mean, he is, as an actor, a little oversaturated right now. So I just don't think Cable is going to be as memorable as Thanos. I think Deadpool 2 might get a little lost in the weeds here.
Ooh, you think he might face a little backlash because Infinity War did so well?
Yeah, well, not necessarily backlash so much as like interest lash. Like, are people going to keep showing up when you just went and saw your favorite comic book movie? Are you here again 2 weeks later for a different one?
Well, I'll go ahead and give my take, Mike. Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm close to Joe here. I'm gonna say hit, but in my heart it is a shit. But I'm gonna say hit because that audience, I think, is there. I think people are riding the wave of these comic book movies, and I think they'll just keep going to the next big blockbuster.
All right, well, I guess I'm on the outside here because I think it could be a hit. In learning that it's a John Wick director, being able to have him step into some meta territory, maybe make a John Wick reference. I don't know.
I'm sure.
Deadpool could throw that out there.
So.
If there's not, then they fail.
Just get an audio drop of, whoa. It's great. We're done. But yeah, I think Josh Brolin's great. Thrashing, he can do no wrong. And to help him out in this, Thanos was a CG character. His performance was insanely good.
That's right.
But now you're seeing him as a person, and you're playing with the funny man and the straight man. And now you have that for the whole movie. Deadpool just kind of was interacting, bouncing off of other random people in the original. Now he can bounce off of directly Cable.
An actual.
as his
That's very
foil.
true. That's a good point.
So
really
I think
grounds the character.
that might help him carry on with the dick and fart jokes because he has that straight man to play off of. So
Which again, I love dick and fart jokes,
Who doesn't?
but I'm worried it's going to be a little one note.
All right. Well, I think it'll be a hit.
Shit.
A hit.
Begrudgingly, you're a heart homie though. We're together in the deep end.
Right. All right. Well, we also talked about Solo, Star Wars, right? So is Solo going to be a hit or a shit?
Sneak Attack hit. I think people are ready to hate this movie, but I think it's going to pleasantly surprise people who were ready to hate it, and for the people who are super excited about it, it'll be okay.
Okay.
So I think it'll end up a hit.
I'm right there with you, Joe. I'm going to say hit. It just broke pre-sale ticket records that Black Panther set up about a month before. If you thought there wasn't the interest there, you were just proven wrong. So that's going to be a hit.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I got burned because I thought that Last Jedi would be a hit. I know we have some differing opinions here.
Here comes a hot take.
Get some eyes.
I think it was shit. That being said, because I'm expecting Solo to be shit, I think it'll surprise me and I'm actually going to like it. So I'm going to say hit, even though I'm cautiously anticipating, I think it'll be a hit.
That's a unanimous hit.
We will go back to The Last Jedi, though.
Yeah, okay.
Not today.
One day.
You'll get yours.
Not tomorrow,
Yeah,
but
now when we
someday.
talk Star Wars, we have to say Jedi, and we have to say which one we're fucking talking about.
See, my favorite thing is to say my favorite movies are Empire, Jedi. You figure out which is which.
Boy.
I really wish they wouldn't have used the same noun. They never did that before. They shouldn't have done it again. Anyway, what else we got then? We got Venom. Venom's a shit, right?
I'm going to say shit.
Everybody's got problems.
Everybody's got problems, man.
This is going to be our first unanimous shit.
It looks like a
Tom Hardy's best when you don't need him to talk.
Water.
Now, people are bringing up that it has about 2 million views on YouTube. I mean, it is getting a ton there. Is that people sharing it saying, ooh, look at this? Or is that general?
I mean, I've watched it 5 or 6 times and I hate it, so.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
I think that's it. I think we get it. So,
movies, no. Dark Souls? Remaster?
Let's hit
The
that.
Dark Souls Remaster. Let's see, hit or shit.
All right. Well, I'll tee it off here. I think it's going to be shit.
I'm going to say hit. I have never once played one of these games.
Okay.
I'm hoping to play for the first time for a later episode. So, I think there's enough people who know the mythos, know the ideas of Dark Soul, but have never played, that people will check this one out as an introduction. So I think hit record sales wise. But in terms of actual gameplay, I don't know. For me, having never played it, I'm excited.
Yeah.
But I could see fans being upset with the mechanics.
Yeah. See, if you're looking at sales, it'll probably be a hit. It's going to do numbers on Switch. It's going to do numbers on PlayStation and Xbox and Steam. I think they're giving it to Steam owners for half off, too.
Really? Right off the
own
gate?
The original one, you can get the remaster for half off.
That makes sense. Prepare
That's
to die.
really
Yeah,
nice
so
of
they're
a
smart.
company.
That is
though.
really nice. So
just give it away.
for Steam. So
As a diehard fan, what were you looking for, or what are you looking for from the remaster?
I wanted those notable problem areas to have been given the proper polish. Yeah, they were definitely rushed. The first game is so carefully balanced.
But you're just seeing a port.
I'm seeing a port, a 60 FPS port, and they're calling it a remaster.
Ooh.
They should have just called it Dark Souls HD.
Ooh. All right, well, boil it down for us, Mike. Hit or shit?
Shit. For a hardcore player, shit. But for somebody who wants to get into it, I think it's great. They should play it.
Yeah, that's me. It's a hit.
If it's their way to get in, it's great. But I think for someone who wanted more out of a remaster, it's shit.
All right, well, I'll weigh in. I'll say, Mike, I'm like you. I'm a big fan of this game. I'm in the Dark Souls subreddit. I've seen how those guys are reacting to it. I'm there with you. It's not seeming very positive on the built-in audience front. But I got to say, you got a video game coming out that a lot of people know just the name of. They're going to be getting their first experience here with this port. People
or they played 3 and not 1.
They played the third one. They're back to see this remaster. You've got the auxiliary tech that's coming with it. You know, they're selling off amiibos for Nintendo now.
Which is, come on, man.
Absolutely.
You can get figures now.
I'm going to go ahead and have to say a hit because it seems like they've dumped too much into it for it not to be.
The amiibos are already sold out. I mean,
they're impossible to find.
Yeah, and I want one.
And I want one bad.
That's right.
So that's 2 hits and 1 shit.
Yeah,
for the Dark Souls reboot.
I think it's a hit for the casual audience. Like I said, the ones that played Dark Souls 3 and didn't play 1 yet, this one's more hardcore. Let me get it on Switch or whatever. So,
all right, guys, that's hit or shit. Tune in next week. We'll try to get you those numbers when we do, and we'll update you on whether or not it turned out to be a hit or a shit.
Yeah, who did what?
Yeah, so upcoming, stay tuned for more focused episodes. We're going to do one on Star Wars. Thank you for listening to Normies Like Us. This has been the first episode. I'm Mike.
This is Colin.
I'm Joe.
And you can find more of us as we continue to grow into the future. We have Normies Like Us. We have YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. It's all Normies Like Us, one word. And you can find us there from any and all updates that you desire. We also have NormiesLikeUs.com, so check it out.
Follow us on social media, folks. Oh, Star Wars? You mean that thing with the Disney cartoon?
The thing with the laser sword.
Ooh.
Oh, you mean the Christmas special, right?
Oh, yikes.
Chewbacca is your favorite character.
Yeah, and I miss him. Come on, happy Life Day, guys.
Happy Life Day.
Praise him.
Basa.